So this is the Hisense E7Q, which is a 50-inch 120 Hz 4K smart TV. And we're going to be using this to test out Samsung Dex Gaming to find out if you can actually have a console kind of vibe gaming just using an external monitor or TV and a Samsung Galaxy supported device. So I'll be doing this through a wired connection. So the first thing I'm going to need is this USB-C to HDMI adapter, which is going to allow me to connect directly from my device straight to the television through this HDMI cable. Then the next thing you're going to need is a Samsung Galaxy device that supports Samsung Dex. In this case, I'm going to be using my S25 Ultra. And then I'm also going to be using this Bluetooth controller, which is generic. I don't even remember the name of the brand, but I've been using this for quite some time and it works well for me. So that's practically everything we're going to need for this to work. So all we need to do now is connect everything. So the HDMI is to go into the HDMI port on the adapter. And then after that, I'm going to be using this wireless mouse because this is what I'm going to use to navigate. I don't like to use the phone. I know you can use the phone, but it's slow and it's not that accurate. So I prefer to just use a wireless mouse. And then after that, you're going to need to connect your device. And if it is HDMI 1 or HDMI 2, you just need to put the corresponding thing on your TV or the corresponding option on your television, and it should boot up straight into Samsung Dex. So to start playing games, I've got everything connected. So this is my Bluetooth controller. As you can see, it's connected directly to my S25 Ultra as well as the mouse. So I'm using this to just select everything. This is a very cheap mouse, so I don't think it's gonna be the best, and I can see that it's a bit slow in how it moves. But yeah, so the first game we're gonna be playing is Carx Street. So I'm gonna double click, and after that I'm gonna widen it. And the sound is coming directly from the S25 Ultra. So now we've booted into the game, and I'm gonna use my mouse to click to the city, and already it is connected to my controller. But what you're gonna need to do is go to settings, go to controls, and then select your controller, because I think when you open the game for the first time it's gonna be on one of these options. So right now we are connected. Let's just see how it moves. So here's my controller. It's kind of slow. Can you see that? So the frames dropped from 60 to being capped at 30, I think because the phone was getting a bit hot. And yeah, even though I've set the settings to unlimited, and I guess the phone just got, too hot or something like that. But yeah, the game is still playable and navigation is still a bit easy. So now I'm just gonna load into a race, and then we're gonna see how performance is gonna be like throughout that. Currently I'm getting 30 frames per second. I'm sure the flow is it's around good. So the entire race was capped at 30 frames per second, even though in the settings this is set to unlimited, as I'm gonna show you now. So it's kind of insane. I guess the phone just can't keep up, even though it is fs limit is no limit at all. So yeah, I guess it has to drop when the performance get very demanding, and this game is quite demanding. So now the next game we're going to be playing is COD Mobile, and this one does support a controller. Now in this game, everything, all the settings, the graphic settings are set to like maximum. So yeah, it does look decent on the display, but you must remember that it's actually stretched out because this is a mobile game. So it's meant to be played on a smaller display. But now when you stretch it 50 inches, it is gonna look a bit sketchy. But for this one, it actually looks decent. And compared to Carx Street, this one actually is consistent with like the movement and how it feels. So this is something I can see myself playing a bit more. The only thing I need to do is adjust the sensitivity, and yeah, this was my first time playing with the controller, so it was a bit messy, but if I can just adjust it and play it a little bit, I think I'll be able to master this and actually enjoy it on a bigger screen. So yeah, kudos to COD for the optimization. Now based on how horrible I was playing, I bet that every other player here was a bot, because there's no way I actually ended up winning this whole match with how bad I was playing. So I think because this is my first time playing COD in a while, I was put up against bots in the entire lobby, because there's no way any person that I was playing with there was actually real. But yeah, so now the next game we're gonna be playing is Fortnite Mobile. And through Samsung Dex, I can see that I'm limited to 60 frames per second. But if I'm playing directly on the device, I think I can get about 90 to 120 frames per second. So I think only here it's limited to 60 frames per second. So I'm not used to playing Fortnite Mobile via a controller. This is one of my first times, so it is going to be a bit tricky. Now, even though the graphic settings are set to high, you must bear in mind that the game is stretched out on a bigger display, because this game is meant for like a smaller 6.1-inch display and so forth. Now I've stretched it with like a 50-inch television, so it is going to not look that great, but it is going to look decent. So even though the settings are at max, it is gonna look a bit pixelated, but it is playable, and this one is actually smooth. Now compared to COD Mobile, Fortnite actually responds a bit better with the wireless controller, which is insane. I actually thought I was gonna have a difficult time with this one, but it actually is better. The only thing I need to do is adjust the sensitivity, because I don't really like play those games a lot, and this is my first time testing out Fortnite on Samsung Dex. The only game I usually play is Carx Street. That's why it was like a smooth experience. But yeah, this actually looks decent and it actually looks enjoyable, and I think I'm gonna be doing this more often. I just need to master the settings and the sensitivity, and I think all will be well. Now it seems as if all games are capped at 30 frames per second, even though in the settings I put them at 60. I guess it's just a way for the phone to cope with what's happening. And yeah, this is actually not bad. If you know gaming, I think 30 frames per second is decent for this. So in conclusion, you will be able to game nicely with games that can support a controller, unless if you maybe want to connect a keyboard. I think there's a few games that support that as well. But with Samsung Dex, you are able to play and enjoy games that you play on your smartphone on a bigger screen. and yeah, it's decent there, but you are gonna have to get used to like 30 frames per second. And games like Fortnite, which are very demanding, you are gonna have to like, expect a little bit of pixelation. But other than that, I think this is very enjoyable, and it's possible for you to enjoy some of your favorite games on this device. So yeah, that's it for today's video. And if you enjoy content like this, make sure that you like and subscribe and follow for more. Thanks for watching.